let's talk to Christina next. Christina, are you there?
Hi, Christina.
Hi. Hi,
Hi.
how are you two guys doing tonight?
Oh, my blood pressure's high.
What was it? What was it you wanted to call about? Let's bring things down a little bit. Let's go smooth.
I can't help hearing that guy talking. I just had to tune that out. It's not. I'm more empathetic and have more feelings for people and all that. So I was calling because I met Ethan on the paranormal, the Hauntings Paranormal and Unexplained Facebook group, and I was explaining to him some issue that I experienced myself. I was in a haunted house last year, and I had some interesting experience there, and I had experiences throughout my whole life ever since I was a little kid. So I just want to get across the paranormal issue and the other world, sort of like the things that happen in Ghost Adventures show, and the things that go knock in the night and bump in the night and that type of thing, and just they're there. I'm not crazy, just I know they're there, and I've had experience like this ever since I was a little kid.
So
my
what?
grandfather, after he died, I know he's around sometimes, and he's like being like an angel, but they have other spirits and other ghosts I have experiences with. So
This is going to seem like a very strange question, probably to everyone. But what's a haunted house?
Well, interesting question to ask, because it could be anything. This house I've lived in, someone died in the house, and they made themselves known to me and a friend of mine, and he was like up in the corner of the ceiling, and he was looking down at us, and he was like had this, the Cheshire cats that one in Alice in Wonderland. He has that very creepy smile, and I saw that, and I was like, okay. And also I could tell that there was strange noises at night. And then of course the one time it joined me in bed, and I was freaked out about that at first, because I felt something move next to my bed, like
there's a lot to unpack
in bed.
There's a lot to
and like I felt it move along the bed, and I got up. I didn't see anything, but I saw a definite imprint of a body next to me.
Christina, there's a lot to unpack here. You're giving us a lot to kind of wade through here. Although I've got to admit that it was very uncomfortable at first. Kind of intrigues me a little bit. But in all seriousness, let's get back to kind of the reason I asked what a haunted house is. Because looking at criteria for potential causes of something is very important, and we have lots of houses, and I'm from Britain. All our houses are old, so I'm kind of this is why I'm asking about the criteria, because oftentimes, and I don't want to straw man you by saying something that you don't believe, but a lot of times people think that a property being old gives it potential to be haunted. Do you agree with that? Is that something you believe?
I don't exactly believe in that. I believe that if somebody was in their house and they had an awful death, then the spirit will stick around and will not move on to their next life. They don't.
So, in
They
your
don't think that
experience,
they're dead,
in your
and they're
experience,
trying to
is
let
it
the
purely people who've had traumatic
current
deaths then,
resident in the house know that they're here.
Christina? Is in your experience, is it solely people who've had traumatic deaths?
A little bit of that, and sometimes some people who died that actually liked where they lived, they want to stay there. They were happiest there, and they want to stay there.
Right. So, going back, this is really intriguing to me because a couple of minutes ago, you said that it had nothing to do with the age of a house. But now you seem to be saying that if somebody's happy in a house, that's actually one of the reasons why, these things might hang around. Now, surely if a house is older, then there's more likelihood of people having been happy there and dying there. Would you not agree with that?
Yes, I would. It's not necessarily the house itself. It could be also any antiques in the house too that have residual haunting that could also cause that. Besides being a house older and
How would what for
like
for
you
those
said.
who aren't really au fait with the ghost hunting thing? Because I actually used to be a skeptic on the ghost hunting team. So this is why I'm asking you all these questions, because I am familiar. But explain to people what a residual haunting is, if you don't mind.
Residual haunting would be like some there might be somebody that was in a room, or I'll just use an example of an object being haunted, and that residual haunting is like because of that object. It could be like a rocking chair, and it's just letting you know that it's there.
So
And
how
it
do
doesn't
these
speak or say anything.
how does the spirit interact with the physical object if they're incorporeal?
They like to move them.
How? Is it like the
They
wind?
have to use their energy. If there's anything in the room, or example would be, I learned this from Ghost Adventures. But if there's anything electronic in the room, they take their energy with the electronics and they suck the energy out of the batteries and use it for themselves to try and generate their being.
Is there any
And they
way
have
that
their
this can be
energy, and then they
tested,
start doing their
Christina?
movement and making themselves known, like making noises
Christina,
and rattling things around the house, or they end up starting moving things, or they generate into some kind
Christina,
of form.
is there any way that this
Yeah.
can like be tested? Because to my mind, if something can make pull energy from something, from electricity or from a battery or something of that like, we have things that can test electricity. We have things that can test batteries. Is there a way that we can test that energy is getting, to use the phrase that you use, sucked out of something?
Well, if you have like a old camera, like those old cameras back in the 80s or the 90s, the handheld cameras, you could use one of those in a haunted house, and if you charge the batteries up, and if you in a haunted house and then the batteries go down,
That's not
then you'll
really a
know.
test to
Another
see.
thing like this.
That's not really a test to see if a spirit is doing that, though, is it? Because we know that batteries can lose the power. In fact, by the very fact that we're using batteries, we're reducing the amount of power in them, and just as a matter of course. And we know that batteries can fail and lose power a lot more quickly. So the question I'm asking is specifically: is there a test we can do to show that it is specifically a spirit that is making this power reduction happen?
You can use a special ghost hunters equipment to test that.
So what does this ghost hunter equipment test for?
Well, there's this thing called EVP that gives a voice recordings for disembodied voices and such. And there's a special one that some of those ghost hunters use, and they have like gauges on it with telling you the percentages, and that can also test.
So what specifically is that picking up? What is it testing specifically? Because EVPs? If you have a detector, right, it needs to interact with something. Something needs to trigger that sensor to go off. So the interesting thing here is
energy in the room.
If we have something,
person, it has to be an actual haunted house. To go in a haunted house and walk in there, their things are all charged up, and they have to do their ghost hunting around there. They don't supercharge them, because some of those.
So if we have
I'm
something,
not a ghost hunter. I'm just I just have general knowledge of some of this stuff. So
yeah. So if we have, number one, we have an instrument that can detect something you're describing as energy being there in this haunted house. And then you have these ghosts or these spirits that are interacting with the physical world. Is the energy that they have tangible in the physical world if that can be picked up on these machines?
I wish I had my friend to be able to talk to you guys, because she has an incident where she was in a haunted house and she felt this tremendous force come up to her and slap her in her back, and she had she explained to me she had a bright red spot on her back.
So can forces be measured?
Angry spirit.
Can forces be measured?
I don't know.
So what is a force?
From my experience and from her experience. My personal experience and her personal experience, I don't know if you can measure that and find out. Some parts of it is personal experience. You can't measure that with technology.
Well, it sounds like you could, because you said that this force acted on your friend and left a red mark. That's an interaction between two things. There is something that had to happen to cause that red mark to appear. And if it is a force, that is some mass interacting with another mass, which can be measured, right? Even if we can't see it.
Well, that's beyond my scope of experience and all. So
but if that's true, though,
I don't do that. I just don't.
If something can interact,
interaction with ghosts, it's.
So if we determined that this could interact with the physical universe, and we had a force that we could measure through masses interacting with other masses, does that maybe take it away from being a purely spiritual thing and being something that we could relate to physical reality?
Well, you need to have something to eat. You need to have a camera running around 24 hours and try to record whatever you experience.
Is that impractical to do? I think we do that for wildlife. People set up cameras to watch certain aspects of wildlife all the time. So could we do that for a haunted house? Could we mathematically calculate some of this out?
You have to use special video cameras to be able to see in the dark.
Would we need to see it though if there's a force that can leave red marks on a person? Could we set up a force sensor that could detect movement?
You gotta watch Ghost Adventures. Zach and his friends and Aaron, they do this show on the Travel Channels on Discovery Plus, and they have all their special equipment and all that, and they show their show when that happens. They document it on TV. I just know this from watching the show.
But do you understand?
But they document that somebody got scratches on their back or on their arm, and
Christina,
they show it to their audience.
I would love for you to get your friend to call in who had this physical attack happen to her. That would be absolutely amazing if she could do that. For now, unfortunately, we do have calls lining up, so we are going to have to let you go. Thank you so much for calling in. It's amazing. Like I said, I used to be on the ghost hunting team myself, so it's amazing to have other people's experiences in this area. So we do appreciate your call, and please call back again, get your friend to call in, and let's continue the conversation.
I'll have to do that. I'll have to ask her to call you guys.
Thank you,
has more
Christina.
experience than I do, but she would be able to explain what she went through living in a house in Texas, somewhere in Dallas. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Christina.
Haunted.
We'll speak to you next time. Thank you.
Okay, great.